Hello, everyone, and welcome to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. I am your host, Kevin Reed, and welcome to the review of The Strangers Chapter 2, the new film, the sequel to The Strangers Chapter 1, which came out last year, 2024. This film stars Madelaine Petsch, reprising her role from the first film. It is directed by Renny Harlin, who you may know from directing Die Hard 2, Cliffhanger, The Long Kiss Goodnight. He got his first big Hollywood film was A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4. I think it was Part 4. So he is familiar with horror. He also did an awful prequel to The Exorcist a few years back, but he's not a stranger to horror. He directed the first Strangers Chapter 1, along with this one and the next one, Chapter 3. Just spoiler alert, yeah, Chapter 3 comes out next year. But this is the sequel to the first one that I did not like. I did not enjoy the first. I did not like it. Now, the original that came out, I don't know, it was over 20 years ago. I think Liv Tyler and Scott Speedman was in that movie. It really good, really creepy, really scary. You know, nothing scarier than Home Invasion. And the way they did that film, it gave me chills, man. It was a real good movie. Now, they had sequels to that particular film that went direct to video and whatnot, and they weren't good either. And this new kind of a reimagining type deal that they're doing here is not cutting the mustard either. This is just a bad idea. You ever sat down and watched a movie and felt like you got trolled, like like you got duped by the filmmakers in the studio? Like, yo, this is gonna be good. I felt that way with this. I felt that way after I sat down and watched this, because I had no feeling either way to see this movie after seeing the first one. But when I went to go see him last week, they played the trailer to this movie, and I forgot all about it. And they played the trailer in front of him, and the trailer, so I was like, man, that looks good. It looks like it got better. You know, I got duped. And especially when I watched the movie, they showed half the movie in the trailer. Actually, about a third, well, not a third, about 3/4 of the movie in in the trailer. All the good parts, to put it amply, all the good parts were in the trailer. If you've seen the trailer before The Strangers Chapter 2, you've seen the movie. That's the best parts of the movie. Nothing else worked. And to be honest with you, the trailer, those scenes really weren't knocking it out the park, but it was interesting enough to make me curious to check it out. You know, out of loyalty, being as though I watched the first one, I might as well complete the pair. Now, will I feel that way when Chapter 3 come out? I doubt it. I seriously doubt it, especially after watching this one. The sad part is, it started off good. It started off really good. I mean, I would say 60%. The first 60% of this movie was decent. Now, was it great? Did I jump up out of my seat and was like, okay, they figured it out? No, it wasn't that. But it was watchable. It had tension. It had some moments where I was actually scared for our lead actress here. You know, I like, man, she's in trouble. And then it turned into a just incohesive mess. You have flashbacks just pop up. And it weren't just flashback moments. They were full flashback scenes. Multiple of them. And it just took you out of the movie. I'm like, what's the point of putting this in here? We don't need a blow-by-blow, play-by-play explanation of the backstory of these people. what makes the strangers so creepy is the fact that you don't know what they're all about. You don't know why they're doing what they're doing. You don't know who they are. You don't know anything about them. That's what makes it scary. And now you're trying to discover who they are and get into the psychosis of them and all this other. What for? I don't need to know all that. You know, it's like with Rob Zombie's Halloween. Remember when he went back and was telling the story of how Michael Myers became Michael Myers, and it just was horrible. It just ripped away the curtain. I didn't want to see all that. Nobody wants to see the backstory of these characters. We just want to see how crazy they are. And this movie did that, and it took it completely off the rails for me. Now, the performance of our lead actress here, Madelaine Petsch, Petschker, I think I'm saying her last name right. She was all right for the most part, but it's kind of hard to assess because she's screaming and running for 85% of this movie. She has maybe 5 lines of dialogue throughout the whole film. It was all screaming and running. That's all she did. And it's like, man, I'm supposed to connect with this character, but how? How can I connect with this character? It's unbelievable, man. I really don't know how this movie got made. I was so blown away from it. Now, is it the worst thing I've seen this year? No, it's not the worst thing I've seen this year. It's still better than The War of the Worlds with Ice Cube. And it was another film I saw that was just, it's so forgettable I forgot about it. But it's not up to that level. Because like I said, the first half of this movie was good. The first half was all right. Then it just went into just silliness. You know, you introduce characters for no reason. You go to locations that makes no sense. You know, it's like, what area is this? What part of the country is this? Because there's nothing around. Now, I know there's part of the countries where there's, you know, rural areas, but the whole geographical landscape of this town makes zero sense to me. You know, it just did. I don't know. I'm not gonna get a migraine trying to explain it, but it's ridiculous. When you watch a horror film, you know what that can save a horror film, because no horror films, because as of late, you've had some excellent horror films to come out recently. I mean, Weapons, Sinners, you know, things of that ilk. Last year you had Heretic and stuff like that. You know, those type of horror films, very psychological and play with your mind and actually have real scares in them and stuff like that. Thought out movies, well written, well directed, well acted. Yeah, you get those horror movies, but for the most part, especially if you grew up in a certain area like I did in the 80s, where you just wanted to see the kills. You just want that would save a movie. You don't have to have a flushed out story, a convincing lead character and stuff like that. If you have some real interesting kills in it. I mean, the Saw franchise has lived on that for well over 20 years. It's all about the kill. People just go there to see the kills. And it works. It gets me hooked. Movie like this, you want to see some interesting kills. If you don't have a strong story, at least have interesting kills. This movie didn't even give you that. The first movie did. The first movie actually managed to give you some real frightening kills, some real tense moments in this house. This movie makes the mistake of expanding. Now you're in the woods and you're running around a hospital and you're running house to house. You're in a car. You know, and all this other. No, man, that's not what this property is all about. You want to see the strangers stalk a couple in a house like the first movie did. The first movie, I can't believe I'm saying this, but the first movie was leaps and bounds better than this movie. And that's saying something. That's saying a lot because the first movie wasn't good. Ah, man, I would say I'm disappointed, but I'm not because I wasn't expecting nothing from it. And that's exactly what I got. Absolutely nothing. You know, I thought I was going to at least walk away with some, okay, that was a cool scene there or a cool scene here. I seen the cool scene. It was in the trailer. It was no point spending money and to go see this movie. They got me. Lionsgate got me. The theater got me. Renny Harlin got me. Man, this bad, bro. That's bad, and I can't even get my money back. But you live and you learn. They won't get me for chapter 3. The Strangers chapter 2 gets a letter grade of an F. Yeah, I can't. I was gonna give it a D minus, but the good parts you already seen. You ain't have to go to the movie to see it. So I can't give it an A. I can't give it a good grade because of that. You know, I got to give it what it is. It is an F. Is an F. And then they had the nerve to leave with a cliffhanger. I knew going in that we were getting chapter 3, that this was a trilogy. But come on, bro. Come on. The way this movie ended was so dumb and actually wanted you to feel. They had the audacity to make you want to feel emotion for what took place at the end of the movie. And I'm sitting there like, you got to be kidding me. And they drug it out. They drug it out for like 10, well, not 10 minutes, maybe about 6 minutes. They drug it out to try to make you feel emotion. If you've seen the movie, you know. I'm not going to spoil it. I probably should because you ain't going to go see it anyway. I would not recommend it. Wait for it to come on TV or one of these streaming services or something. But it is not worth your money. But it is embarrassing. I felt embarrassed for them. I wasn't embarrassed watching it, but I felt embarrassed for everybody involved because they were trying to make you feel some type of emotion. Unbelievable. But I would like to know, did you check out The Strangers? Did you even know this movie was coming? If I wouldn't have went to see him and saw that trailer, I would have had no earthly idea that this movie came out this weekend. But hey, hey, it is what it is. Maybe this will draw some attention away from him. A film that I actually enjoyed, but a lot of people are ragging on. No, you should have saved your venom for this. This compared to him is Citizen Kane. Him is The Godfather compared to this movie. But that's just my opinion. I want to know yours. Email the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also search for the show on all social media platforms. Just search for the KB Radio Network. Also, don't forget about YouTube. Subscribe to the KB Radio Network channel on YouTube and like this video if you don't mind. Don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me for this review of The Strangers Chapter 2. Want you all to know that I love you, continue to love everyone, and until we speak again, you all be blessed.